Okay, we are still going through the different rhetorical modes. Now we are moving to compare and contrast. Now, when we compare two things, we are showing how they are similar. When we contrast two things, we are showing how they are different. And we do this every day. Just in everyday conversation, we might compare two brands of running shoes, or two movies that are out, or two teachers we have had, two versions of the same song, two courses of action we could have taken in a given situation. This is just a normal part of everyday discourse. So what I want to cover in this video are how to write a topic sentence for a compare and contrast paragraph. And I also want to spend a lot of time talking about the two different ways that you can organize your supporting points. This rhetorical mode is unique in that we have two different methods that we can use for structuring our paragraph, for organizing our supporting points. So let's dive right in. First of all, how do we write a topic sentence? Well, it's important to keep in mind that it's not enough to simply name the two subjects being compared. Remember back in the module when we talked about what makes a good topic sentence, we said that every topic sentence has to have two parts: a limited topic, which is what the paragraph is about, and then an idea or attitude that we're trying to convey about that topic. So you need the two subjects being compared, and then we also need some point about that comparison. I've got a couple of examples for you here. An incorrect topic sentence would be, there are many differences and similarities between the iPhone and the Samsung Galaxy. Now, let's take this apart. Does it meet the first criteria? Do we have a limited topic? Well, yes, we do. We have an iPhone and Samsung Galaxy. We actually have dueling topics here, so that's fine. But what's the idea that we're trying to convey about the iPhone and the Samsung Galaxy? Well, that there are many differences and similarities. Well, that's too general. It's too general of an observation. Remember what we've been saying about general statements throughout this whole course. They're boring, they're not interesting, they don't tell you anything. We always need specifics. Remember, specific writing is interesting writing. So here's a better version of that topic sentence. While the iPhone and the Samsung Galaxy are both smartphones, the iPhone is definitely the smarter of the two. So in this example, we've named the two subjects and we're making a point. We're saying that the iPhone is better. So you always want to do that in your topic sentence. Have the limited topic, which is subject A and subject B, and an idea or attitude or point of the comparison. All right, now I mentioned that there are two methods that we can use to organize our supporting points. And the first is called subject by subject, or one side at a time. And in this example, in this method, we divide the paragraph basically in half. And in the first half, we talk about subject A, and then about halfway through, we pivot and spend the rest talking about subject B. We can also use the second method, which is called point by point. In this method, we compare both subjects throughout the paragraph, and instead we use our supporting points to organize the paragraph. And I will show you an example of each. I have a couple of sketch outlines. Well, first I have a pre-writing. Remember when you're picking a topic for compare and contrast, you always want to make sure that there is a basis for comparison. There needs to be both similarities and differences. And start out your pre-writing by making a list of some of those similarities and differences. If you have an idea for a topic and you start listing similarities and differences and you can come up with lots of good examples, that's a great topic. If you start making that list and can only come up with one or two things, maybe you need to think of a better topic. Now for this example, I'm going to talk about Walmart and Target, because do you agree that they are both similar in some ways? Sure, I mean, they're both retail stores. They both basically sell the same kind of stuff. Are there also differences between Walmart and Target? Sure, I mean, people say that the customer service is sometimes different, the prices may be different, the quality of some of the goods can be different. So I'm going to show you examples of both of these types of methods that we can use to organize our supporting points. Here's an example of subject by subject where I have divided the paragraph basically in half. So I'm going to have a topic sentence where I state my comparison between Walmart and Target. Then in the first half, I'm going to talk about Walmart. I'm going to talk about Walmart's prices, customer service, and quality of goods. Then about halfway through, I'm going to pivot and say something like, on the other hand, Target, and then I'm going to talk about Target's prices, customer service, and quality of goods. You notice that I'm using the same order in both halves of the paragraph. That's important. I also want to make sure I've got lots of specific examples as I'm going through. And then I'm going to have a conclusion sentence that sums up the point of my comparison. Now we have another option, and that's what we call point-by-point comparison, where you first make a point about one subject, then follow it up with a comparable point about the other. Now my topic sentence is going to be the same, regardless of whichever method I use. But here I'm going to have a supporting point about prices. And I'm going to talk about Walmart and then Target. Then customer service, Walmart, Target. Quality of goods, Walmart, Target, and conclusion. It's the same exact information in either method. It's just how we're structuring it that's different. All right, so once you have that structure down, are you ready to write your rough draft? Well, no, not quite. Remember, we need a topic sentence. And I have an example of a topic sentence for you. Better prices, customer service, and quality of goods make Target a better store than Walmart. So I've got my limited topic, I've got Target and Walmart, and I have an idea that I'm advancing that Target's the better store. And in this topic sentence, I even named my 3 supporting points. So this is a great topic sentence. You also want to make sure you add in your transitions before you start writing. Add phrases like first, next, and finally to your main supporting points. And then specific details. Remember, for each one of those supporting points that I have here on the screen, I want to make sure that I'm giving specific details, specific examples of each one. That's what's going to make our writing interesting. So once you have your rough draft complete, don't forget to go back and revise and edit. Now, in the next video, we're going to look at examples of the 2 methods of compare and contrast, so you can see those in action.